Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 258. It is the second day of the week, aka the special beam cannon workout. I am feeling pretty good, very excited to do this lower body day, and looking forward to it. But with that being said, today's subject matter, which has been alluded to for a little bit now, Dreams, Part 5. My goodness, there are so many parts already. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at another part of dreams, particularly one part, an important part in dreams, and that is the anima, aka the female side of you in essence. It sounds weird and it sounds very out there, but it is, think of it as your perception of how you see the other sex plus your self combined. It's very strange, and I'll probably obviously get into details in the voiceover. But right now, before I get into it, think back to any dream that you may or may not have had that you remember, where you talk to someone, particularly a female. If you're a male, this applies to a male, but also a female. It's a little different, but you can apply this to whatever gender you are if you do the opposite. So you'll see what I mean. Whenever we do the other episode, whatever part 6 comes out, you'll kind of get the flip side of it. So, but basically, if you ever look back and think about a dream and you see a mysterious woman in the dream and you remember what the dream was about, if you can, and remember interacting with this person, think back to what happened in there and some of the things that they may have said or you were doing with them or whatever else is going on, and try to just remember that and have that in the back of your head while we discuss everything else and what they might represent, what they might not represent, but other things like that, just because this is one of those things that it doesn't happen every dream. It's not necessarily a reoccurring thing, but it does come up usually. It does come up every once in a while. The mysterious woman, the woman that you talk to that you don't know, or the woman that you see doing something. This isn't necessarily applying to people that you know, but more so a person that you don't know, but yet they feel familiar to you. It's weird. It's like you're talking to a stranger. You don't know them, but you know them. It's very strange, but if you've ever had a dream with this other person, you kind of get the sense of it. So, and I'm going to talk about this in the male perspective. Like I said before, it's a little different, obviously, if you're a woman, and the roles kind of flip in that sense, but realistically, you will get the bigger picture later. So I think for now, you just kind of want to listen to what I say about here and then kind of flip the script whenever I go to the other side, because there will be an episode about the other side, but I'm going to wait for a dream to come up for that. So in this one, we'll discuss some of this last dream I had, some of the things that happened, and I even wrote it down just because it was very, very interesting to me. So we'll discuss it, and then the feminine inside of you and all that other stuff, and maybe how you see, the woman's world in your eyes as a man. So we'll discuss that and get into a few details when we get to Mother Base. All right, so started this day off with squats, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter. Dreams, Part 5. The anima, or the woman that you may or may not see in your dreams. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I had a dream the other day where, it's been a while. I actually wrote the date down, and boy, it's been a while. But basically, the entire dream consisted of me going into a home of an unknown woman, and I was talking to her, and we were negotiating on sexual activities. And I remember particularly there was a list of things that she wanted me not to do. And I was like, okay, I'll do I can just do it. It's not that big of a deal. But the entire thing was interrupted with her child coming in out of nowhere. And then we were just that got distracted because then all of a sudden he started asking questions. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because the woman that you normally see in your dreams, like I said before, is a representation of people, of the feminine side of you, in a sense that are the deeper, more subconscious or unconscious levels of you and your side of things when it comes to the female side of things. So
most of the time you would want to understand this part of you so that way you can integrate it well with your whole self and thus make it so it's a little bit better. In my case, it is very weird and interesting, but it's not necessarily that different because it seems as though a lot of the time it has some type of sexual undertones to it, just generally speaking. But this isn't necessarily for everybody. I think that's just how I deal with that or just see that. But also as well, you will see that generally speaking that is the general undertone that the unknown person will give you, depending of course, but it all really just depends. For me, it's interesting because I can see these things and kind of understand that maybe I am looking at these people a little too much as a object and or objectifying myself and putting weird proxies into my feminine side, aka putting like a checklist of things in order to do, in order to feel a certain way or do a certain thing or something along those lines, which I know sounds very weird and like different, but I feel like if you understand your own dreams and start understanding what's going on in them, I feel like you can understand what these people are trying to tell you. For me personally, maybe it has to do with something along the lines of having to deal with this side of me, really, and then hopefully that will lead me to a place that I would like to be, aka having a kid, because then the kid interrupts the entire process that happens there. A weird negotiation between the myself and the other self, really, that gets interrupted by something that in theory is where I would want and what I would want later in life. And then the questions as to why I'm there and all these other things. And this is just one dream like this. This isn't necessarily all dreams, but a lot of the times you'll notice the familiarity with the person that is the unknown woman in your dreams. And realistically, you'll know them, but you won't know them at the same time. It's like the weird familiarity of seeing somebody that you've seen a couple of times on a public transport or at a similar place at the similar time, and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore or something along those lines. You will understand intuitively that this person is someone you know, and you have to kind of interpret what they want from you and what is going on with them. And then from there, you can kind of get the idea of what the anima inside of you is trying to get out of you and try to make you into a whole being. And I know it sounds very weird and it's very strange, and quite frankly it is. It's not necessarily for everybody, because there are some people who never get this far or even understand what they're even talking about. This person is just a strange person, a strange being, but you could be able to interpret everything that the person says and does and everything that goes around it in the dream. You just have to look at it and understand mostly part of yourself, really, and then look from there and to try to figure out why those things are happening with you. And this also could be a representation of how you see others in the world, how you see these people that aren't necessarily you, but maybe a representation of the women in your life or the women that you see in general world are represented in your brain. Now, that isn't necessarily quite often all the time, but more so just the feminine side of you looking inward at you and trying to make it so you can figure out your opposite side and thus make yourself a whole being. Because if you can make yourself a whole being, you'll be able to interact with the other sex quite frequently, as well as being a whole understanding person in general, which a lot of people lack because they don't want to deal with the idea of opening to that side and realizing that in order to be a whole being, you must look at yourself from all angles, including what is not part of you, even though it is part of you subconsciously.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand here. Dreams, aka the mysterious woman. The reason why I wanted to talk about this, well, I probably already talked about it. I had a dream where I had a woman talk to me, and it was interesting, mostly because introspectively, if I were to be a little bit open about this, it is something that I was not expecting to happen. It is interesting if you look back at maybe some multiple dreams that you may or may not remember and think of the woman in your dreams, the mysterious woman who talks to you and says things to you. It is as if they have some type of pattern or some sort of thing that they want you to understand about yourself, but they can't really tell you directly. It is something about that feminine nature that is like that generally, but in your own world, you can get a lot from it, more so than you would in real life. Let's be real. But that's just because it's you, but it's a different part of you. It's a part of you that some people are more tapped into than others, but it is still a part of you that is important because like I've probably hinted at before, it is something that you kind of see your interactions with the opposite gender in such a case. So you see them in sort of a light like that, but not necessarily. It's almost as if you see what you see in yourself in others, if that makes any sense, particularly the opposite sex. So it is quite strange because it's not necessarily as straightforward as seeing another person in your life or the setting or things like that, which are a little bit more direct for you even. It's different because it's more of a philosophical person. It isn't necessarily a real person. The person may or may not exist that you see, but their person is just an avatar for a representation of you, but the you that you may or may not be tapped into and the you that how you see yourself in others, really. And it's something to be aware of because some people are blissfully unaware of that side of them. Whether it be something that you should listen to in its entirety or not is truly up to you, but they do give insights on how you see certain things and certain things, how they kind of see you, if that makes any sense. It's like as if you are getting the insight for the other side that you may or may not know, because sometimes they will tell you things that you truly don't know because they are saying something to you as to what your interactions with the world is out there and the interactions with out there in the world with you. So it's very interesting. I know I keep like kind of reiterating the same thing when it comes to this, but it is very different but also similar for everybody really when it comes to it. And like I said before, if you're a woman, this is watch the guys episode, the next dream parts, which hopefully will happen soon, and that will explain. Just take that and flip it with this one. So yeah, it's very interesting when you think of it like that, because then it's like, all right, it's obviously different because everybody's dreams are obviously different. No one dream is exactly the same. Now there are some themes that might be the same, certain signals and or messages that might be the same, but the way we get there is usually not the same. Not all the time, at least. There are some motifs that are across the board, but it all just really depends, like some things just happen to happen. But these things, particularly the anima, it's the anima of the body is something that is an entire concept on its own. I would probably go into more depth on the concept and just not necessarily just in the dream realm, but I wanted to talk about it in the context of dream interpretation because it is very useful to understand that part, because it is something that can pop up, but you may not understand it. So that is why I wanted to talk about it today, and it was a perfect example because I had that happen to me. So I was like, oh, perfect. And I have had a dream not that long ago, but like long enough ago, where I did see the other side, the animus. So the male, the mysterious male, which I immediately was able to tell was me. But that's for a different conversation, for a different day. Same coin, but different, because this is very different as well. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If you had any dreams of a woman that you don't know, please let me know in the comments section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please stay safe out there, stay warm, keep it heavy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!